I'm Brandon McLean, and I have a car buying addiction. In order to combat this, I opened a mechanic shop to make some money, to help restore my cars while helping the people I can. Problem is, I can't stop buying cars. I have a lot of cars to restore and little time to do it, and the more I talk about it, the less time I can be doing it. So welcome to Terminated Restorations. Well, new day. At the end of the day, I stayed a little bit late last night trying to correct the parts mishap that we had, and I was able to sell off some of our parts for about $5,000. So we've made a little bit more money off of finishing up that car from the other day. So now we are going to be working on this lovely Mazda RX-7 that I had sitting around, and sadly, it won't be keeping this car, as I do need to sell these cars to make some money. The interior is in surprisingly good shape. So, the only thing it's missing, of course, is a steering wheel. So let's fix that. Let's get it a steering wheel. RX-7 steering wheel. I think the bench was in the worst condition, but you know what? No one's going to be fitting in that anyways. Alright, with all of the body parts stripped away, let's go ahead and lift it slightly off the floor here. And actually all the way off the floor so we can fix its frame. So go over there. We'll also wash the interior while we're at it. And we will drain the oil so I don't make a mess. Also didn't have oil in this car. Anyways, repair that and clean the interior. Let's go ahead and start stripping away some parts here. Drive shaft needs to go in order to remove the engine, of course. Need to remove a starter, which this one doesn't have one. So we can just pull all of that off. So we have the transmission off the motor already. Now, if I remember correctly, the Mazda RX-7s had a rotary engine, making it a very interesting, to say the least, car. We'll see how much of a pain that is here for this restoration, if that motor is really worth its weight. Now, if I were to keep this car, of course, I would not be putting a standard rotary back in this. I would be souping that rotary motor right up and trying to make this car as fun as possible. But maybe some other time when I can afford to keep some of these cars instead of sell them. Otherwise, this is a very short-lived time. There is a lot of stuff going on back here in these old vehicles. This is actually a newer vehicle that's very much so overcomplicated, I would say. So much stuff going on back here. Of course, safety, ride comfort, all that. So, let's see. Do that, then we can take this off, take that off. Then we're into this area, so we can take that piece off, take this off. Take this off. Of course, some vehicles with rotary engines have had the rotary engines in the rear. Not the Mazda RX-7. It has its rotary engine in the front. So that's a little different. Now, I guess it's not very different. It's normal to normal cars, but different for rotary cars, I guess is the way to go with that. Alright, so we can finally get that piece off. Get this off. Fuel pumps I never really worry about because we have a few of those lying around for some unbeknownst reason. Then this can come off here. And this one can come out. Freeze up that piece. We can get the suspension arm off. I think this is an independent rear suspension. Move our sway bar. Knuckle housing. And then the cross. Alright, now we're back to the front. So let's go ahead and start removing the front tires. We'll lower it back down, remove the engine here. A lot of the same things always need to be replaced on cars, doesn't it seem? You know, brakes, your caps, your bearings, just all the standard things that keep the car going. Then you find some minute things here and there. This one actually is going to have a different style of shock absorber, which is unique, cool, I guess. Of course, also like tie rods are a common thing that need to be replaced, so a person can steer their vehicle. As you know, steering a vehicle is very important. Otherwise, we'd be just trains. Alright, calipers, brake pads, wheel hubcap, wheel hub bearings, and then all the rest of this. Get it all the way down to that frame so we can pull the engine out without having to worry about it dropping onto the floor. Of course, the sway bar on this is actually connected to the shocks, not the knuckle itself, which is odd. And then we can remove the outer tie rod and the inner tie rod, and that frees up our steering rack. Get all this removed. Okay, now let's lower the vehicle so we can access that engine bay. I'm going to go grab my crane, because I'm not going to just be pulling that motor out of there by my hands, am I? Not the Hulk. We'll get this battery on the charger, remove some of this excess gubbins from here, and then we can get to the air filter. Most of the time this plastic's very easy to restore, so if not, it's a cheap part. And, you know, air filter, easy thing to replace. Let's go ahead and get the turbocharger taken off, so it gives us a little bit more space to work with pulling the motor out. We will also, most of that doesn't stick off too bad, so we'll just remove like the throttle assembly and this fuel filter. And we should be able to pull that out. It's just one giant box. And then we'll get it onto the engine stand. Alright, there we go. One rotary engine. And we'll get the battery on the charger here. And we'll start disassembling this monstrosity that is a rotary engine. So the rotary engine principle is actually very interesting. How these engines work. Now, of course, rotary engines came originally from aircraft designs, and they were a design choice so that way when a aircraft did a maneuver, it wasn't throwing fuel around and depriving its engine of fuel in the standard V8 or inline motor configuration. They're also a lot more compact. As you can see, this motor is very small for how much horsepower it does actually pull out. Of course, it maximizes that by being very cramped inside, and rotary engines sometimes are prone to overheating due to lack of proper ventilation for, you know, getting rid of its own heat. Of course, that's not super common anymore. And I can't really think of very many vehicles outside of Mazda that do rotary engines anymore. of course, it makes for a very modular design, with a lot of parts being able to come off in sections. And there's, of course, no actual piston assembly, as the entire internal part of this rotates. So when you're replacing them, you don't have to replace an entire block, you replace assemblies. Alright, let's start with putting back the body panels that we can. And these headlights, I think we will get new headlights, if I'm being honest. Reinstall the hood, and then door. Actually, let's make sure that, keep that hood off. Makes it easier. I don't have to worry about if I left it up when I'm closing, or when I'm lifting the car off the ground. Pretty sure all the glass needs to be replaced. Trunk. Just replace all the windows. I would just, yeah, every single window. And then the tail lights, same way. Just put those on the replacement list. Alright, I did remember we need to lift it back up, because we left the subframe still attached, so we need to get this out. Because we can probably repair this little bit of the framing, make it easier on ourselves. When it comes to these cars, we don't want to actually rebuild everything. Alright, so they're Mazda rims themselves with a sport tire. And they're actually 17-inch tires, which is pretty crazy to think about. Okay. So we're going to go to sport tires right here, and we need 17-inch tires with 235. Are they all the same? That's another good question to ask. They are indeed all the same. Sport tires are the same. So sport tires size 17, width of 235, and a profile of 45. So we need 4 of these. That's some expensive tires, almost $2,500 for those tires. And then the rim shop, we need RX-7 rims, and this one particularly had the B rims, so we will keep that with factory standard. Alright, so install our new rim and tire. Let's see. So front shock absorber, we need all of this stuff in order to reassemble those. So I will go ahead and get those parts as well. Front, oops. Need to actually go to the part shop. Front shock absorber takes a front spring. I think they were front shock absorber A's. And then we need caps. Take that tire. Get the next one going. And then we'll come over here and join together all of those. And we'll get our motor starting to be reassembled here. Get this nice, lovely. So we do need to replace the rotors inside of the rotary engine. Get the exhaust manifold back on. Hold the engine together with that. We do need a new ignition coil. Turbo is in good shape. We need 4 spark plugs, and a fuel filter. Go ahead and grab this one and install the last one together. And get these tires rotated around. And there's the last one going on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and order some parts. We need fuel filter, ignition coil for ROTA, spark plugs, 4 of these, and then rotor, 2 of those. Okay, back to putting this thing together. Very complicated parts involved here. And then block housing. We will need a new flywheel. Let's go ahead and do this way. Flywheel, and then go and do the body shop parts. RX-7. Oops, that's RX and then 7. We need headlights, taillights, and all of the glass. Yeah, okay. We got all that stuff now. So I can clear that, make it easy for us for when we need to go back and find other things. Okay. Intake manifold, we need one of those. We got this ignition coil, so put that back on. Alternator, were we able to save the alternator? Yes, we were. Water pump, we were able to save that as well. Crankshaft counterweight, we need that. We need an idler roller. We need the sprocket. Want the spark plugs for this, so we can go ahead and stick those in now. Oil pan, we have that. And I think that's as far as we can go right this second. Clutch plate, pressure plate, and bearings. We need the ignition wires. And then the oil filter, we have this. Okay, now let's go ahead and pull these. And then come over here, I think. Yep. Oops. Okay. Now, let's get that reinstalled in. Front sway bar, we're going to need to get a new one of those for sure. Steering rack as well. Get all that going. And that. We need a steering knuckle. Okay. Let's get some of that ordered. This one's having a little bit more problems than the one we had in last episode. Intake manifold B for an rotary. Intake manifold B for a rotary. A crankshaft counterweight. And then we need idler roller. I'm just gonna buy a couple of these because I know I'm gonna need them. Sprocket. Clutch. Nope, not that. The pressure plate. Ignition wires for this one right here. And then we need oil filter for the rotary. Steering rack. Might as well do tie rods while I'm at it. And then front sway bar. Just buy 2 of each of these. I need them for almost every thing that we do. And then front steering knuckle A. So that will clear everything off of my list so far. We'll go ahead and install those. And this one here. Okay, and then we'll go back over here and install the things that we have collected. So next is the timing chain, so we will need that. Install those. Install our oil filter, our intake manifold, and then our fuel rail, and the top part of our intake manifold, and then our throttle. Alright, that completes the upper part of that side of the motor. The only thing is to reattach the turbo, but we'll wait to do that once we can get the engine back in the car. And also, you know, finish the front of that motor. Going back over to the car here, we will reinstall our lower suspension. And then I will also go buy some more rubber bushings, because it seems like we have ran out of them already in 2 builds. Okay. Front shock absorber, we have freshly redid those with some brand new ones. We can install our steering rack and our sway bar. And we can put new tie rods in here. And knuckle cover, we're going to need one of those. We also need a front wheel hub for the other side. All brake parts, wheel hub bearings. Got our end links here. Get that installed. And then we can do the same on this side. Get this installed. And this. And then we can install another lower arm suspension. And then we also need catalytic converter, middle muffler, regular exhaust pipe, and a rear muffler. Fuel tank, need a fuel tank. Alright, let's get all that ordered. So, starting from the top, we need a timing chain for rotary A. Timing chain. Am I blind? Am I looking right at it? There it is. Okay, and then we need front axle knuckle cover, front wheel hub. Nothing else from here. Catalytic converter, muffler. We need rear muffler for the V8, which is this one, and then we need the middle muffler, this one. Then we need exhaust pipe and a fuel tank. Okay, so we can clear off this section. Okay, wheel hub. Alright, that's got us the same side. Both of those. And back here. Put together what we can. I thought I picked up the rear muffler that I needed. Apparently I didn't. Okay, well, back to the drawing board on that. Fuel tank. And fuel pump. We got the rear suspension there. We got both of these are good shape. So that's good to see. We're going to need one of these suspension arms. Two of these shock absorbers. Those are good. Got the suspension arms are in good shape. Gonna need one of these as well. I need this thing. And then install one of these here. These are in good shape. That's good. Rear sway bar, we need that. Upper arm, that's in good shape. Spring cap. Rear spring. And it goes in. Lots and lots of parts. Okay. Now we can do this one. And that. And this. Need that. Can do that. And put that in. Put that on. Okay, I think we are as far as we can go back here right now. And go back over to here and start slapping on these things. And I need that. So that's immediately derailed us there. Okay. So from top down, we need rear muffler V8. I think I grabbed the B by accident. We need rear suspension arm. We need rear shock absorber A, 2 of these. Rear wheel hub. Probably gonna assume I need 2 of these. I know I need 2 of these. I don't know if I bought that or not. And 2 of those. And then we need timing cover for ROTA. So timing covers. This one right here. Okay. So, clearing that list. Come back here. Put the new timing cover on, since we needed a brand new one of these, apparently. Immediately halt it again. Buy parts that we don't have. Alright. Good to know. We'll go back to work up here. Tie rods, I can install you guys. Did I do the other side? I must have. Okay. And we're paused here. So we'll go back here and continue doing this stuff. The rear suspension. Shock absorber. Sway bar. And sway bar end link. Perfect. I think that's everything for this side except for this. Go over to the other side. Get everything attached. Oops. Reposition myself. Put this bushing in. Get the rear hub here on. And then that spring, this end link, and the cap. Okay, now I know I need 2 hub caps, but 4 hub bearings, and then we need crankshaft pulley for the V8, and then arm for the rotary A's, this one and this one, and then brake parts. I need 2 regular discs, 2 ventilated discs, and 4 sets of pads. Okay, going up here, let's see. Regular brake disc. We can install that. Pads. 1 drive axle, because we need the other one. And then our calipers. We're going to need 3 sets of these. Alright, with that side done, let me pull this tire off. Go over here, we'll continue working on installing the parts that we can onto here. Hopefully I bought the extra idlers. Nope. Need to get one of those. And then the serpentine belt. Okay. Do that. Okay, rear drive axle is what I'm looking for. And then we are looking for power steering for V6B, and then serpentine belts, rotary engine A, or this one, and then is there B for rotary engine A? Yes, there we go. Alright, back to putting together this. Put this belt on, power steering in, other belts, the extra roller. Alright, that is that done. So we can finally pull that off here. We can lower you down. Install it in. Raise you back up. We are done with you. And let me go ahead and finish the back end of this car first. Nope. Okay. Drive axle, brake pads, brake calipers with their brand new cylinders, and the Mazda rear wheel. Alright. Next, we'll finish up the front here. We have just this part to go. Brake caliper. And the wheel. And then on this side, ventilated disc, bearing, cap, brake, caliper, and the tire. Perfect. Now, lower the car down, grab our battery from the charger. And then we can go ahead and start putting together the rest of it. We need plastic bits. Need to reinstall that. Okay, we need that. Battery. Radiator. Radiator fan housing. Alright. So we need air filter, base for the rotary, air filter cover, okay. Do that. Bought the wrong air filter, of course I did. Air filter for rotary A. We also needed this front exhaust section for rotary A. Which is right here. Okay. Now, put all of this stuff back together. Go ahead and buy 2 new clips. Just do that. And we can finish putting the clips in. I think that's everything that I need to access right here. So we need to raise it back up again. Okay. Front exhaust. That's reconnected. Rotary gearbox. V8 starter. Drive shaft. Alright, I think that about does it. Yeah. We'll lower this, reassemble the body panels. And all of our new windows. And then we'll just throw the old license plates on. And that should be everything done. This car we will send to paint. I love this car too much to not send it to paint. And we'll just paint it back to its factory colors. Alright. So paint, set factory, and paint. There we go. Look at that. All nice and new Mazda car. And a really nice price for that car. So we spent probably about $16,000 restoring this car, and we're going to sell it for $65,000. So that puts us at $274,000 back in our bank, and $74,000 since the start of this season.
Shut up and sit down.